if you ever fall out of touch with music, you need to find a song like that for you. That's my song that brings me back to. There's something every time I watch it, I feel the same way. Like it touches me way. I get goosebumps thinking about, a song that somebody played in a park 51 years ago, probably.
Something in the water taught me how to crawl. Something in the water taught me how to fall.
This is our first podcast here. Sean Clark, Dave Griffin from Waycross, Georgia. And we got our guest, Jason Chancey here, a good friend of ours.
Hey, guys.
Written a couple songs with Jason, and he's a local working musician like the rest of us. And that's kind of what our podcast is about. We're calling it Something in the Water. Take one.
I guess between the three of us, we have got a lot of musical experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know I've been playing since my first band, almost 50 years, and the two of y'all, what?
I've been playing on about 30 years on and off, A little pause for a kid here or there, but, I went to high school with Sean, so he's always been playing. So he was like the third best looking chick in our high school. Long hair, skinny.
I've seen the pictures. He is hot.
For sure.
So we've co-written songs together.
Yeah.
All three of us.
All of us have,
Yeah.
Yep. How many songs do you think you've written altogether, Dave?
Oh, God knows. I got a big old book. I well into the 200s, 300s probably. I don't know. They ain't all good.
Every time I come around, you've written like 3 more songs. That's
Yeah, but they ain't all good.
Yeah, but man, I'll write like 2 a year or something.
No. Yeah, y'all, I've always admired y'all as far as your songwriting and everything. Y'all kind of made me turn a corner back in the, I guess it was around 90s or early 2000s. It was when we all kind of gravitated toward one another, and it was y'all that kind of inspired me to turn a corner in my writing and everything.
I feel the other way, because once I found out about you, I was like, well, hell, I got to step it up, damn,
well, that's the beauty of it. That's the thing about it is we're not in competition, but
you were the first one.
Subliminally, it's always a competition.
You were the first one that wasn't my age that had been doing it. Like I'd never known of anybody outside of. I was gone since I was 18, so it was about 21, 22 when I met you through Gram.
Right. My nephew Gram Griffin, who was named after. Well, his name's David Gram Griffin. He was named after me and Gram Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And Gram Parsons is from the town that
Waycross, Georgia,
where we live. So
something in the water. Right here in
but,
Waycross.
So you guys kind of eventually, once y'all started being fans of each other, you wound up doing the Newfanglers record together,
Oh
Blood in the Pines, which is, by the way, one of my favorite records of all time. Seriously, even at times where I maybe haven't, me and Sean haven't gotten along, I still like that record.
We weren't getting along?
It was about 12 years there after high school. We didn't hate each other. It was just, it was kind of weird. When you're both musicians in high school, it's like everybody likes and hates each other at the same time because it's all based on girls.
I got a lot of hate in high school.
Well,
But we shared a homeroom together.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So
I didn't realize this about y'all, that y'all were high school classmates.
Yeah, we were.
Chancey and Clark right there in the same homeroom.
Yeah, we were dipping our spoons in the same teacups. So
We were both friends with Jill Saracella. I always
super awesome,
Yeah.
awesome.
I always thought we were cool.
I mean, we're cool. I mean, we just were. I mean, it was just that.
What was it, Jason?
I don't know. I don't know what it was.
I didn't know
It was
there was
high
a thing.
school. It was high
It
school.
was high school.
Like.
Yeah, people are not sure of themselves at that age.
I mean, I think it was just a one step removed thing. Like Rick dated my ex girlfriend, and then you were like Rick's roommate. So at some
Who's
point,
Rick?
Bennett.
Rick Bennett,
Rick Bennett. Okay.
the owner of Twin Earth Records from right here in Waycross, Georgia.
Yep.
Some fine stoner rock
A
music.
lot of music has come from this town, hasn't it?
for sure.
Look at it.
But I mean, there's always been a friendly competition. But then, as the world has changed around us, I think we've kind of embraced each other a lot more, over the years. So,
Yeah.
Well, that happens.
And old Dave over here starting the damn Gram Parsons Festival. Gram Parsons Guitar Pull.
Yeah. That's been going on 23 years now. We fixing to enter into our 23rd year of the Gram Parsons Guitar Pull, which blows my mind a little bit. I was a young man.
Blows my mind
When
that
it
I played
started.
every one of them.
You had played every one of them. You were there in 1998 in the backyard under the pecan trees
I wouldn't miss one.
with Gravy. Was it Gravy?
Yeah, it was gravy. And it was the first day I met Tony Cason. He came over playing the guitar.
Yeah.
Awesome guitar player.
I think John Smith was there playing drums. It was so unlike what it is now. I mean, it was very casual. We had a PA system and drums and amps set up on the back patio, and everybody just kind of floated across at their own pace, and it was beautiful. It was great. It was what it was supposed to be.
I'd played, backyard parties or whatever through high school and whatever, but that was, when you threw that, it was like, man, this is the coolest thing I've ever been a part of in Waycross, And that was just a house party, and that's what it turned into what it did.
Yeah, well, I made myself put first annual on the little flyer that I sent out because I said if we're going to do it once, we're going to do it twice.
I remember you said that too. But tell us the reason why you stopped having it at your house.
Oh, God. Yeah. It was 98 was the first year, so in 2001 was the fourth year in the backyard. And there was about 200 people that showed up to the house that night. I was totally unprepared for that, but welcomed it nonetheless. I mean, it was great. And by the end of the night, the law was closing us down. And I woke up the next morning, there was like 8 dirty footprints in my bathtub. And I thought,
2 different ones.
okay, it's time for a change. So at that point, we looked at everything and decided, well, the guitar pull is popular. We know that, but we can't have it at my house anymore. So in 2002, we moved it into the public and started having them. We started out at Little Nights, local honky tonk, and that was our first headliner. We had Walter Regan and the Brooklyn Cowboys.
Yeah.
And I think, and
That was pretty cool.
you were there as well,
Yeah.
because you played every one of them.
I remember that
all
was
through the years.
one of the first time you had a headliner
Yeah,
that were like,
headliner,
oh, there's
yeah.
some people coming that
Yeah, and
had something to do with it.
And it was not so casual anymore. It was like, okay, we're doing this, and there's going to be a band to start at 5, then there's going to be another band to follow, and another band, and it took on a little more organized. And now here we are 23 years later, and it's a big outdoor festival at the fairgrounds in Waycross, and like 30 bands over the weekend with big headliners, big name headliners, and
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing to have seen it grown from just a small idea to what it is now.
Ralph Stanley,
Yeah, Ralph Stanley, Leon Russell,
Marty Stewart,
Charlie Leuven, Marty Stewart, Jim Lauderdale, Ian Dunlop.
Elizabeth Cook.
We're running out of. We're running. Yeah.
Daniel Romano.
Daniel
Yeah.
Romano.
Thank you, Dave, for Daniel Romano.
Yeah.
It changed a lot of our ways of thinking about music, what can be
Yeah.
done in the modern era.
Daniel
So,
Romano is a Canadian artist. If you've not heard of him, remarkable. He's
Amazing.
He's a chameleon. He changes.
Genres.
He changes colors. Yeah, and they're all good. He's a genius. But it's been fun. It's been fun. I'm as big a fan of all of these Daniel Romanos and all these other people as well. I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm just as big a fan of them as y'all are.
What are y'all listening to these days? What's the newest thing you're listening to? Like most modern to most classic?
oh, goodness.
I'm watching a lot of stuff on YouTube, documentaries and stuff, trying to get back.
Oh, I got something to talk
Yeah.
about.
Steve Winwood was one of the latest documentaries that I watched, which was
Yeah.
very entertaining.
That's funny because I've been listening to Live on the Road by Traffic, which was not filmed, it was recorded in Germany. I've got listening to that on vinyl. And David Hood, Patterson Hood's dad from Drive-By Truckers, he was a Muscle Shoals bass player. He plays on that. It's phenomenal. And through that, it got me back to a song that I'm not a religious person, and I don't have, I don't really get into spiritual stuff, but Blind Faith, their first album, or their first concert was actually videoed. It's the only video of a concert they have. It's in Hyde Park in London. And they did a song called In the Presence of the Lord.
Yeah.
And if you ever fall out of touch with music, you need to find a song like that for you. That's my song that brings me back to, there's something, every time I watch it, I feel the same way. Like, it touches me way. I get goosebumps thinking about, a song that somebody played in a park 51 years ago, probably. And it's an anomaly, for a band like that to have that kind of, I guess it was during that 60s spiritual awakening, but still.
So what is, I always get this mixed up, secular and non-secular. Which one is which?
Secular is the non-religious, and non-secular is the religious. So.
Yeah.
A secular song can move you to the point of salvation,
Right.
or a religious experience.
Right.
Oh my God!
Yeah. I mean, well, and it's a song about finding your place in the world and being okay with you, with who, with how you're gonna. I found a place to live, in the presence of the Lord. So that's to me, it's not a religious song at all. It's a secular song. It's just about
Well, it doesn't have to be.
Right.
The feeling of the song overtakes anything that the words are saying.
It's just
not that the words don't mean anything. But
right. Yeah. It's
just what that song
it's the
creates.
power of music and how it can move you.
It's a very young man talking about how he's found a place to have some peace in this crazy world that he's living in, with the upheavals of the 60s, with him being a young guy thrust into the limelight. And free love, free drugs, free everything. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, as a star, when your first performance as a band is attended by as many people as you can see, then you're big. You know,
Right.
because that was Eric Clapton, Steve Winwood, Ginger Baker, and a phenomenal bass player, and I don't remember who it is.
Oh God, I can't remember the fella's name either.
I mean, I'm a bass player. I know nobody remembers the bass player's name.
I always loved the old early recognition of Steve Winwood. Is the talk around England was that have you heard the 16-year-old from?
Yeah.
Sounds like friggin' Ray Charles.
Yeah.
You know, and you listen to it. You know, Spencer Davis. He was a singer on Spencer Davis. I'm a Man, and
Nobody could believe it was a 16-year-old white boy.
16-year-old white English lad.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
sounded like Ray Charles, and it does.
Yeah.
You go back and listen to it.
Well, that's just, you know, like when Alex Chilton,
Yeah,
big
Chilton.
star,
Box tops.
when he was in the box top and cut the letter, and he was like 15 or 16 years old.
There you go again.
First time in the studio, and just cuts this vocal that, I mean, has probably been in 100 movies. It's been on the radio forever. I've heard it since I was like 4 or 5 years old.
He came back and did all kind of different stuff.
Yeah.
With Big Star, and then even had a punk thing after that.
Yeah, yeah. So, which that's a really good documentary. If you guys watch documentary, is the Big Star documentary.
I
So
have
these-
watched that. It's
Yeah,
good.
it's
These
called
guys-
You Can't Hurt Me Now or something.
These
like that.
guys were brilliant at 16. What were you doing at 16?
I was learning how to.
Not being cool.
Yeah.
Not have
I was not.
Cover songs.
not already ever the
I was jacking off for the first time.
Well, I mean, I got in there before 16, but yeah.
come on.
I was mastering the hand switch anyway.
You're mastering it.
Well, what was your first band's name? Because I got
yes.
I think we've all been in some bands with
Yeah.
awful
Man, I got
names.
some horrible
Oh
ones.
God, my first band's name was
I think we tried to shoot
was
for
right out of high school. It was me and Billy Ray here and Jake Lee, Jason Lee's daddy, who was the drummer. I was the bass player, and Billy Ray was the lead singer and the guitar player. And
Power Trio.
Power Trio. It was let's see. I think we had a vote on the name of the band. It ended up being the Dog Hill Gang. Since I grew up on Dog Hill, Mount Pleasant Road, and I think Jake wanted to call it 3-Card Stud, and but
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Can I
Dog
steal
Hill.
that now?
Dog Hill Gang won out, and let's see, the first working band, really serious band that I was in was again with Billy Ray, and it was Sweetbriar, and this spoon, this table right here that we're sitting at.
It says
I was looking at it
it's on this
earlier,
side. It's on this side.
and it's got Sweetbriar written in a big magic marker down the
Wow.
column of the stool. So
It's a coincidence. Yeah.
the spoon.
So you
Behind us here, real quick, Justin Mercer. I forgot he was in frame. But,
yeah, he's the producer who's killing me with alcohol right now.
He's plying us
Caution,
with drink.
Caution Light Media. Yeah, that's who we're doing the podcast with.
Well, I want to go back. I want to get to my first band that I was ever in. Was called Good Riddance, and we played cover songs. We
Yeah.
played some Faster Pussycat,
Man,
and
I love
Well,
some
Motley
what's your
Crue.
age at this time?
I was probably 16
Why weren't we friends?
because we were in different bands, and we, they're playing that song. and-
Band
Y'all had
wars.
high school bands.
Yeah, we were in high school.
Yeah.
We had a drummer that was older, because he could afford drums. But we mostly played, we started out playing at,
He was older, so he could afford
two of the guys
drugs.
in the, Preston Hardy and Chad Sermons were in the band, and they were cousins, and they were both Mormon. So we played at the Mormon church in Pearson, Georgia, in the auditorium. And the first, it was either the first or second gig. I would love for it to be the first gig. they have a curtain, so they open up the curtain and we start a song, and Preston steps on his chorus pedal and it just farts out. So they close the curtain and we fix everything, and then they open the curtain and we start again.
Oh wow!
But that was actually a really cool experience because everybody was positive, you know, and there were girls there, and they were, I don't know if at the time if they were a little older or if they were just feeding them something different, but there was a lot of stuff up top there that we weren't getting at high school. Those country girls.
Mormon country girls.
So, and of course everything was above board because there was 8 million, you know, adults there to make sure you weren't doing anything. But still, it was that first taste of being on a stage.
Nice.
You know, and having, you know, not knowing anything. I'm sure going back now, it just sounded like trash. But playing the yard parties with Sean and them, playing the school dances and, you know, stuff like that. And then he mentioned Jill Saracella. She opened up her stepfather, Robert Kicklighter.
Yeah.
Did a wonderful thing for us. Opened up a little club downtown called Sear Something.
Yeah.
And
A teen club.
A teen club.
Wasn't that upstairs at the Carter House? Or-
No, it was upstairs above KD's.
Above KD's, yeah.
Okay.
So,
And I got to book bands for that. And we'll get bands from Jacksonville, and we were like, man, we got
Damn.
bands. We got
yeah, but out of
weirdo
bands, man.
weirdo punk
You were a
bands
high
coming
school
from
promoter.
Yeah.
And I still listen to some of those bands, dude.
I do
I
too,
still listen
man.
to Gizzard. I still listen to
Those
Dampening.
were some cool bands, man. Like
And I'm a
Dampening and
yeah, I'm still a musician, and some of the stuff I'm still like, those guys were geniuses at the time. I mean, and then Sean's band, you know, like I still have. I don't think they ever recorded anything that I'm aware of, but I still can I can still sing you part of one of Slush Puppy's songs.
what? I can't even.
Special K.
I don't
A
even.
song called Special
I know
K,
there
yeah.
was a song called that. I know it was in Drop D, but that's all
I mean, it was a
remember.
lot of
Was
Stone
it-
Temple
was it
Pilots
inspired by the cereal?
or
I
the
don't
drug.
think, I don't think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the
So
drug.
you're-
But
you're-
not that we'd ever
but-
done any of that. But
What
we,
was your
we
first
thought
band?
it was cool.
Slush Puppy?
I guess the singer did.
Slush Puppy was your first band?
Yeah, that was my first. Yeah, that was my first.
That was your first band?
And that was Jody?
No, Jody wasn't in there yet. It was Gus Fullard, and for a week it was Scott Paul, and Brett Garrett
Yep.
from Waycross High playing the drums, and Jamie Stewart.
Yep.
Jamie Stewart.
Shirtless Jamie, bass player.
Man, Jamie-
That's my son-in-law.
I know, and what's crazy is that's my first friend outside of my blood relatives.
I mean, like, I've never been hung up on bass players, but like Jamie was the guy in high school where I was like, I'm that skinny, but I'm not nearly that cool. You know what I mean? Like,
Man, he went more rock than any of us.
yeah, he was like total, like,
Shirt off,
yeah.
busting guitars like he's Pete Townsend. Yeah.
But they had a song.
He still does that.
Yeah, in the bedroom with your daughter. Get it?
Yeah, they had a song. They had a song called Special K, and I remember it went. I said I wanna come in,
Oh, really?
and it was very like grungy, like Stone Temple Pilot stuff, and it was like
Yeah.
they sound like the other bands I'm listening to, and my band sound like bands that came out 27 years ago, like AC/DC.
Do y'all
and
have
Aerosmith.
That's why you were
recordings
cooler
of
with
any
us.
of that?
You were cooler than us.
Y'all have any kind of recordings of the past?
I heard a practice tape from then, a cassette tape that we'd recorded straight to cassette, and it was us doing Junkhead from Alice in Chains.
Yep.
And a few other originals, I think. But I don't know who has that tape. I've got some VHS tapes of from that Kurt Cobain tribute
Yeah,
show.
at
Sirius
Sirius something, there was a Kurt Cobain. I was actually at that show, I think. So that was pretty cool.
That had Gus playing in another band. I forget what they were
Yeah,
called.
with Van Sickle maybe. or somebody.
Yeah.
Did Gus, was he like singer? Or
Yeah,
he was
he
a
didn't
singer.
play an instrument, right?
He played a little bit of bass and guitar,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
but he didn't with the band. He just sang.
Yeah, he was
Crazily.
like I mean, to me, he was like the spiritual leader of the
He
rock
definitely,
movement. Yeah,
he
in
was. I mean,
Waycross.
I learned a lot from Gus, like as far as listen to this, listen to that, and he was the guy that football player, but just crazy mohawk guy or whatever he had that week. I mean, he was just stepping out there.
He was a force.
Yeah.
He wasn't. I mean,
true.
I don't think he was pretending to be himself. I
No.
think he was just that
Dude,
guy.
he was that when I was been him in 7th grade. He was
yeah,
that.
yes.
Yeah.
He was just like like a professional television wrestler.
Right. Full on
he's
all the time. Like, man.
He was a character.
He was a character.
The swamp star that we use, our symbol for Pine Box Dwellers, was the slush puppy symbol.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and when he passed away, I started using that. But it was before slush puppy, about 6 months before. I started using it on my solo flyers, and then we got the band, and I just kept it.
Yeah.
But he told me to
cool.
come up with something with 5 question marks because we had 5 members for a week, and then one of them dropped out.
Yeah.
He said 5, because it was 90s, early 90s, and all the bands like Red Hot Chili Peppers, they always had signs, or symbols,
Right.
and 5 question marks, and that's actually
So
what
right
the
now
thing
it's
is.
4, right? With Pine
Well, yeah,
Box.
but
With Pine Box, it's 4.
we kept
Yeah.
the symbol the entire time, even after the 5th guy dropped out.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the
Pine
combination of the people. So,
yeah, it's just more of a remembrance thing. Than,
so
That's awesome. A lot of history. A lot of history.
and then I think my second band was like a speed metal band when I lived down in Florida, and then I was in a rap rock band called Mike Hunt. Yeah.
Say that fast.
And what's funny is that like I was the guitar player in Mike Hunt. And then wound up like with a cheap guitar and a cheap combo amp. Wound up in Holly Hill, Florida at a recording studio with the producer for the rap group, the Alcoholics, cutting rap record, like playing guitar on rap records. And it's like, I don't know how to play, but I'm the only guy in the room that can play guitar. So they just like, but they literally like, we're like, get in the car. We're going to Holly Hill. And at the time I was like, cool. Like now I'd be like, when am I going to be back or going to have lunch? I mean, I kind of miss that, being a working musician's a lot different now, I think, than being those early days when you were just happy that somebody wanted to hear what you had to play, I'm gonna have to piss real quick. So I don't know if there's a cutoff. I don't know if there's a break point right here, but like,
took a pee, man.
Go ahead.
We'll be right back.
is there anything we need to adjust? Anything?
Something in my blood starts to take a hold. Something in my bones start to lose control. Something in the water gonna make me whole. Something in the water gonna make me see.
We'd like to, at this point, we'd like to thank DoorDash for supplying us with some victuals.
Fast chicken.
Fast
Super
chicken.
fast.
chicken.
Popeye's Louisiana chicken.
Alfonso.
Lord.
Yes. Thank you, Alfonso, our DoorDash driver.
So, carrying on with the discussion now, we talked about how we're over 100 years of music history right here, music experience, and we're also songwriters. All three of us are songwriters, and
Yeah.
We've all written songs together.
we've co-written together quite a bit. one of the, I think it's the only one that the three of us may have co-written together. Maybe not, I haven't said. But the one that stands out to me is one night over at my house, we had a couple of guys from North Georgia, Fester Haygood and Levi Lowry, two exceptional songwriters.
Hey, boys.
Hey, boys. Had come down, and we gave them a bedroom to stay at the house, and invited Sean and Jason over, and we proceeded to sit in the living room and see if we could write a song together. And sure enough, we came up with something called
Trembling Earth.
Trembling Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a magical night.
That was fun.
That was fun. It was.
So we all had a part in it.
Yeah.
And Justin and Carrie from Caution Light Media were there earlier in the night, you know,
Right.
capturing some live stuff.
Yeah. That night we had Pakistani food.
Yeah. Dave's wife, Miss Lynn, she made Pakistani food, and it was fantastic. And I've been kind of after it.
So two of y'all have written together as well.
Yeah, we've written a few songs. We've thrown away some, but I think Sean's recorded a couple of them. One's called "Rainbows on the Pavement."
Good song.
And Drifter's Blues we're going to do on the next album.
Yeah, Drifters Blues. That was a
funny tale.
That was a really good lesson for me in songwriting, because the song started out as with my idea of a guy getting his heart broken and it feeling like Elvis Presley, Hank Williams, and Jesus, or no, Dale Earnhardt. Yeah, Dale Earnhardt, Hank Williams, and Jesus all died at one time.
Yeah, you came to my house and was like, this is the
line,
I got a line.
And then by the time we got done with the song, the line wasn't in it anymore, but all of the lyrics were based around that line.
Those three?
Yeah.
Yeah, about those three.
Like
so
every line we switched about, all right, this one's about Jesus, this one's about Dale Earnhardt,
this one's about Hank Williams, yeah. So,
but we took that line out, and then it's like kind of.
Yeah, it wasn't quite so on the nose. I mean, like Sean taught me something about you don't have to be on the nose. You don't have to overthink it, but also
be abstract as well.
Yeah, let the listener have something to make for them to connect with in their life, and not you just shoving it right, right in their face. So
yeah, that's a great song too.
So,
and Rainbows on the Pavement. You spawned that whole song because you came over and was like, I got one line, Rainbows on the Pavement.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, let's
there
do
we
it.
go.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
Well, that
what's hard.
Any more of the songs I write are kind of birthed out of being a working musician, because you see things. You see people in there. They don't know you're watching them because you're on stage.
Right.
So you see everything happening, and you can see, like, this guy and this girl are going to wind up together before the end of the night, and these two are going to fight before the end of the night. And these, and it's corny. Like, as I've gotten older, I've gotten corny, but I always tell the guys, when I'm playing in a band, like, there's no show too small. If you're going to play the show, you got to play it, because it's going to be somebody's first date or somebody's last date, or the first time, somebody may not be able to take their significant other out but once every couple of months. They may have 3 or 4 kids sitting at the house. And you think that's kind of like, a cheesy or corny maxim to play by, because you're playing in front of a bunch of people getting drunk. Mm-hmm. Until you get an email that says, I'm a 32-year-old widow whose husband died unexpectedly, and I have 5 kids, and I never thought I'd find a man again until I met him at your show.
Yeah.
And the wind goes out of your body, and you just sit there for a minute going, thank goodness we didn't just call it in that night, Or when you live stream a song to a guy in Afghanistan because his wife is there with her family, and they weren't planning on watching your band, but then you started playing, and she asked you to do a song for him, and you're right there, and there's something about it that moves you.
Yeah.
Because music moves people, you know.
Yeah.
And you realize that you're able to give something that you've always taken from others. You know, when you go see a concert and you feel that feeling, well, people do kind of feel that when you play music, you know. It's not being grandiose or cocky or anything. I mean, they really, you know, you and the other guys you're playing with are joining together to create an experience for somebody. And if you don't take it that seriously, then you just need to stay in the garage, to be honest.
As insignificant as you might tend to think it is, it means something. It means something to the people out there. That's what you got to keep in mind at the whole time, you know. The show always goes on, you know, and it's hard sometimes, surely. But, I mean, so...
Yeah, there's.
I mean, my God, y'all are killing it out there. I mean, as far as shows go, y'all are working all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
And
We're
it can be
lucky.
hard.
Yeah.
lucky to be playing more than we were for sure. But
And you're Pine Box dwellers now.
Yeah.
Pine Box dwellers.
And got a great following of people.
Yeah.
And, you know, y'all do great. I mean, we're just, you know, with my band, we're just getting kind of started 2.5 years in. Y'all been grinding away at it for a while.
And you're
Justin
Spivey.
Justin Spivey band, yeah.
y'all been killing it too, man.
And we kind of do different things. All three of us do different things as far as the live arena these days. Sean and his band have a cajon, a very swampy, earthy sound. My band's a little bit more two-guitar, modern country, which is really rock and roll, guys. And, you know, Dave's, you know, kind of doing the solo acoustic thing these days, you know.
Yep.
Though you've made one of my favorite albums ever, two of my favorite albums ever, actually. American Spirit, which my son can sing all the way through, by the way, as a 20-year-old who shouldn't care about, you know, Americana roots music, but mostly what he listens to is like Japanese pop, but then he knows your record. And he knows Neil Young Harvest pretty much all the way through. And then, you know, the Newfanglers that you did with Sean,
Right.
and then Sean's done a couple albums that I really, really, really like. So even without any of my songs on them, you know, so I'm blessed to be in the company of, you know, of giants here. So
Big fish, little pond.
well,
Not even that.
this pond has a lot of folks in it. That's why I wanted to, about 5 years or so ago, I guess, I wanted to make a documentary about the music here before it died out. And thank goodness it hadn't died out. But then, you know, life got in the way. I went through a rough time, and I got a divorce, and I just didn't have the confidence to go through with it. Then my sons came and lived with me, so that put a little bit more financial burden on me. And then I joined a band, and like, you know, it's
A lot of time.
it's a lot of time, but you know, in a way, something like this or a video series, it seems to be better than full-length documentaries, because I was so thinking, like, how do I put all of these people and all these stories and all these things in 75 minutes, 85 minutes? And knowing I had to use, you know, Justin and Carrie and their time and everybody's time and effort and all that stuff to do this, and it might not turn out right. Whereas this, you know, whether it be, you know, a video podcast or a you know, a songwriting series or a storytelling series or whatever, this can be tweaked along and along as it goes. And I think that's amazing that it was never about ownership. That's why I used Sean's song title, Something in the Water, because I didn't want it to be about me. I wanted other people to be interested and excited and realize. But the minute we started talking about documentary, people started going, I'm going to write a song. I'm writing a song. I mean, it really did rejuvenate something. And that's not getting on, you know, for me. I mean,
Yeah.
Sean and I were the ones who were talking about it. And I think it was just a point of, you know, understanding that new music was there to be made. And we've heard some great artists that have come out around that time anyway, that made us believe that music was still vital and important, and it wasn't just, you know.
So the documentary was basically going to be about Waycroft's music.
Yeah, the musicians that are
And it
here.
was tentatively titled Something in the Water.
Right.
Which is the name of this podcast.
Yes, so it's all the same.
Which was the name of a song that Sean wrote.
And I wrote the song about there being a lot of talent from Waycross.
That's something to water because there's
So,
a ton of
yeah.
talent, you know, and not a lot of it has gotten out.
Yeah.
But there,
Yeah.
you know, I've lived in other places. I've had other people from other places come here and go, how do y'all have so much talent in one spot? It's ridiculous.
Well, I'd heard that too. Like every time somebody comes here, it's like, man, there must be something in the water. There must be something in
Well,
the
I've
water.
always maintained that, but
Yeah.
and not in a
I mean, we always
bragging
talked. Yeah,
sort
we
of
always
way
talked
or
about it
anything,
amongst
but
ourselves. Like, man, there's a lot of people
listened
from
to
here.
a lot of music outside of
yeah,
Waycross.
yeah.
And I think I'm a pretty good judge of music, and I know what moves me and what don't. But I swear to God,
There's something about Waycross.
there's
Everybody from Waycross is different, but everybody from Waycross sounds like Waycross. Like,
It's weird, you
Yeah.
know.
I don't know what that is. If you
No,
could bottle
but-
it up, but
how to put the finger on it or anything, but it's something that I'm proud to be a part of this town and this musical family, you know, because there's a lot of community spirit among the musicians here,
Yep.
and that's
you're the ringleader of
Fabulous.
all that.
Yeah, you're the
well, I
guy
don't know
now.
about that, but it's
You're wavy
it's-
gravy, man.
It's good to be a part of. It's good to be a part of.
I mean, there's a little bit of explanation. You know, Waycross is a railroad town.
Yeah.
And people came from all over to go in the swamps and build the railroad.
It's
And
it's
at the
where all
evening
lace
time, all
grows.
they had to do was, you know, bring their few little instruments that they have and play music. And then the railroad caught on, you know, people worked there. So there was actually a town. You didn't want to leave because you could get a good job, but there wasn't anything else to do. So you play music. And then, you know, I remember growing up and there being old people, and I mean old back then, that could play music that would just scald you. Bluegrass music, gospel music. About 8 miles away from here, there's a big, you know, there used to be a big enclave of shape note singers.
Oh yeah.
You know, the Sacred Harp hymnal.
Mm-hmm.
I have my daddy's Sacred Harp hymnal at home, and he was born in 1930. So, I mean, there's a long history. And when we were doing some filming, when we were trying to, you know, work on the documentary thing, somebody asked or something came up one time about, you know, why is so much of the music here, you know, based around the trains? Like Sean's music is a train beat. A lot of it, you know. I mean, not that all your stuff's the same, but you know those
I agree with that.
that rhythm. And somebody said, I don't know if on accident or if they were just that wise, that it's because the trains leave town and the people never do. So it's sort of the background, you know,
I used to-
sound of our town, you know.
I used to say this joke. It's not very funny. Probably why I stopped saying it. But it's like, man,
Never stopped you before.
If you're from Waycross and you leave, you're like, I want to get the hell out of here, and something pulls you back. And there's like, the conspiracy is that's not a water tower. It's like you got a chip in your brain and like it draws you
you
back.
back, yeah.
Like you can't leave. You got like, I
There's
gotta go back.
something in the water tower.
Something in the water tower. Exactly.
Well, I can vouch for that because I have left Waycross several times in my life
I have too.
since graduating high school in '71, and I've always come back. I've had
You don't know how cool it is till you leave.
I've had 3 marriages in this town, and
Or sometimes it's just convenient.
and reared a couple of children, and had a lot of jobs, and now I'm retired, and I can't leave. I just can't leave, and there's a pull, and I don't know what it is exactly, but some folks
It's a-
call it crazy.
I think it's an underdog thing. Like to me, it's like the path of they don't want it to happen. They don't. There's a lot of people that just push everything down, but it's like, I'm gonna make music happen here, to make that happen, and there is a cool scene going on, but it's really only enjoyed by a circle of people, really.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
But
Well,
I just accept the challenge.
Challenge accepted. As long as we're happy, and as long as
I might be
the
speaking out of
people that
school,
are
but
following Pine Box Dwellers, the people that are following Justin Spivey Band, and
and
people
Uncle
that
Dave
are
Griffin.
following Uncle Dave's traveling road show, are happy, then that's all right with me.
So here's one thing. I think one of y'all might know this and the other one doesn't. But I went to see, you asked me about what I was listening to currently. I went to see Coulter Wall a few weeks ago.
And I wanted to go to that. Our
And,
buddy Wade Sapp was opening up.
Yeah, the guy opening up, I didn't know him, and he's not from here. He's from, I think, Okeechobee, Florida, and then went to Atlanta, and maybe he's in Nashville now. But he's a guy named Wade Sapp, and after he played, I took a smoke break and went and talked to him for a minute, and he kept looking at me, and and him and his buddy, and anyway, they got to asking me, they were like, are you from Waycross? They were like, you were filming that Newfangler show that they did at Tipsy McSway's in Brunswick, and we were there, and I want a copy of that tape. And I'm like, man, I can't really get it to you, but it's weird. I go see one of the guys that's inspiring. I'm going to see one of the guys that's inspiring me. A guy that's a real throwback, and his opener is wanting to know about Dave and Sean's music, and they're just effusive. With real praise and with real knowledge about it. They weren't trying to make me feel better or feel cool. And when you hear it from people that are working, when you hear it from people that really write good songs, like when Levi Lowry covers one of your songs on his album, and he can write them all day long, that means something, I mean, that really does mean something. And I mean, you're not a great writer for Waycross. You're a great writer for the world.
Anybody.
Wow.
And there's songs that I don't like it any more than you do, but there's songs that you play that make me go, that just make me turn inside out. And it's hard to reconcile knowing somebody that's making you feel that way, but I mean.
Well, it's mighty kind, buddy.
Well.
But that's what I'm saying. I feel the same about y'all's work. We've got a family here.
Yeah.
And we all feeding off one another. And hopefully, it has. You can see, I'm getting on up there in age and everything. So hopefully, one of y'all's going to kind of bust through and make this thing happen. Shine a little light on Waycross.
Right.
The Waycross music. I'd love to see that happen.
It would be nice.
It's not too late for you to do it.
So,
Mr. Pocket.
Now, one thing I did notice is that, when kind of mainstream radio collapsed pretty much, I mean, I guess it's still out there, and MTV was gone, and the internet took over, and everybody was scared, how is anybody going to hear our music? There's a billion bands. But then Justin Mercer, the guy who's recording this tonight, his Caution Light Media started doing these little videos. Mm-hmm. I don't know on the inside because I haven't done any of my songs or anything, but how has that affected y'all as artists?
And it couldn't be any better to have this guy, which, by the way, came up to me. No way. He messaged me first on Facebook, and this long thing, I don't even who this. I don't remember. I'd met him before, but I didn't even realize. And this long thing about, hey, I'm just starting this thing, and if you know him now, like, there's probably more words in that than he has actually said to me in person. So then when I ran into you at the fair, you come up to us, hey man, that's me. Let's do this thing. Let's do some videos. And I'm just thinking, I don't have any money for this. And he's like, no, I just want to do it. I just want to do it. And I mean, we've paid you since then a little bit, but I mean, shoot, man, you come along and just have gotten better and better and better and better, like just from week to week. And we're already good, out the gate, but it's just been such a blessing. And then you move 2 blocks away from me, so thank you.
Well, I mean, and to see somebody like
gives us an outlet that we can record something and put it out, and it sound decent, and not have to go to Nashville to make an album.
To see somebody start, with video, and then they're producing some of the best audio you've heard. I mean, literally, I watch KEXP and all those videos. They ain't got nothing on Mercer. I'm serious. I mean, like the audio
we did our album.
It draws you in. I mean, it really does. You feel like you're in that room. It's not overproduced. It's not underproduced. It's he's done stuff for my band and nothing but.
He's friend of the musical community, and I didn't know who the hell Caution Light Media was when I started seeing it for the first time about 3 years ago, and come to know Justin and carried on and worked with them, and they filled a void, and they're huge friends of the local music community and helping us get our songs out there to a larger public. And one thing that I've noticed that since I've worked with y'all is that I've gotten a lot more marriage proposals from strangers. And
how a guy as good looking as you was so nervous around video cameras. I remember that Sean's kitchen. I think it was the first thing we hoodwinked you into coming over.
When I dropped my book.
There was some liquor flowing that night.
Yeah.
But you did The Light Up Above. What's the name of the song?
Let's see.
That's a good
one.
Shine a Light.
Shine a Light.
Shine a Light.
Yeah.
And not the Rolling Stones tune or whatever, but this song called Shine a Light. And I'd never heard the song, didn't know it existed, and I didn't know what I was about to hear. And when you're sitting there trying to hold, I don't remember if I was holding a light or just being in the way, but I just remember all I want to do right now is sing along to this, and I can't, I can't do it, You
can go to Caution Light Media and see this video, by the way.
Caution Light Media.
YouTube.
Caution Light Media, Shine a Light.
Yeah, Dave Griffin. But seriously.
Amazing songwriter.
I appreciate it, y'all.
And since you retired, you're an author now?
Yeah, I wrote this book right here. Actually, I started blogging on the internet, and then a publisher came along, and I was able to do a little paperback book of about 25 of my stories, and it's a lot of fun. Tales of the Week.
Yeah, you were doing a weekly thing on
in the newspaper.
A weekly thing in the newspaper. The newspaper died. I got out right before the newspaper died. So,
yeah.
Well, why don't you take us out with one of your stories? We'll go and
a whole story.
Yeah, well, that's what I want to do for the podcast. I want you to read every one of your stories in order.
Oh my gosh.
Read the whole book.
Yeah, let's start from the beginning.
You gonna start at the beginning?
Start at the beginning.
Start at the beginning, and we'll work through it. And you just lean in on that microphone, and we'll make sure this lasts forever.
Okay. Now, are we gonna do any kind of cut here, or focus, or should we just try to not look stupid while he does this?
Yeah, the latter.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll
leave that in.
Edit this out.
Idiot.
I'm sure.
Well, tell us what the name of the book is.
Name of the book is Tales of the Week, From Dog Hill to Tripoli and Back. And
WEAK.
Yeah, Tales, Tails of the Week, Weak. We'll play on words there. Chapter 1. Considering all the fear and hate mongering our politicians love to incite and love for us to participate in, I expect I, if anyone, have a most valid bone to pick with a small group of Middle Easterners. Back in 1958, my daddy, a 20-year Air Force man, was stationed in Tripoli, Libya. That's tip-top in the middle of the continent of Africa, bordered on the north by the beautiful Mediterranean Sea and on the east by the Sahara Desert, my wading pool and sandbox for a couple of childhood years. Now, being 4 years old when we arrived there, you'd think it would be quite a culture shock. But I couldn't have told you whether I was in Cairo, Georgia, or Cairo, Egypt. I did notice an abundance of camels and sand. It was a beautiful land, rich in ancient history and filled with exotic aromas. We lived in an apartment compound in Tripoli with neighbors of all ethnicities, American, Italian, French, and British. There were 2 Arabic landlords who lived in rudimentary shacks in each corner of the compound. Our landlord was Ali, the other landlord, Muhammad. I'm serious. A huge wall surrounded the apartment compound with a couple of steel gates for entry and exit. Standing on the balcony of our second-story apartment, you could see shards of glass embedded atop the wall, multicolored and gleaming in the midday sun. Inside the apartment, I have to say we were very American. Mom and Daddy were from South Georgia, Hoboken and Waycross. So we still ate biscuits and fried chicken with the occasional spaghetti supper. Though we did own a handsome Telefunken stereo console cabinet that Daddy bought while stationed in Germany, which housed an AM/FM shortwave radio and a turntable that played 78, 45, and 33 1/3 RPM records. In October 1959, Daddy brought home a Marty Robbins record, El Paso. I was helplessly drawn into the melody, the stunning harmonies of the Glazer brothers, the cinematic storyline, and I'd lie on the floor, chin in hands, listening and watching the cowboy die in Felina's arms over and over again. Grady Martin, the acclaimed Nashville session guitarist, provided the eloquent Spanish guitar licks throughout the song. Martin is credited with accidentally stumbling onto the electric guitar fuzz effect during a recording session with Robbins in 1961. His guitar had been run through a faulty channel in a mixing console, generating the distorted sound on Don't Worry. Martin also supplied the memorable guitar line on Roy Orbison's Oh Pretty Woman. He played on Red Foley's Chattanooga Shoeshine Boy, Willie Nelson's On the Road Again, and Ray Price's For the Good Times. Like most kids in the 50s, I was well into the cowboy ethos and fancied myself a good candidate to outdraw bad guys and rope and ride with the best. How foolish of me, for I was in the land of Alibaba. You know, the 40 thieves, that kind of thing. On Christmas Day, 1959, I received a brand spanking new cowboy outfit from Santa Claus. So I ambled out of the apartment, across the compound, and shimmied up the big iron gate that transformed into my stagecoach. Just about then, 4 or 5 young Arab boys had gathered beneath me, speaking in a language I couldn't quite put a finger on. Before I could say yippee-ki-yay, they'd reached up and stripped me down to my socks and underwear. Gone was the pearl-handled gun and holster. Shiny boots, silver spurs, rugged chaps, and childhood innocence. I kicked and yelled for all I was worth until Ali, the landlord, finally made it out to see what all the fuss was about. He was too late. They had absconded with the goods and tore out to wherever it was they called home. It was devastating back then, but I've forgiven them in my heart. I figure somewhere in Libya, a Western cowboy culture was created with rodeos and Arabs riding camels, shouting jihad instead of yeehaw. Yep, I reckon so.
That's awesome. All right. We out.
When the cold black water finds its way across through your veins, it just might seal your fate. It just might seal your fate. It just might.